I'm doing what I can to bury her.
Families already going through the trauma of losing a loved one are now forced to deal with a new nightmare.
It's our top story tonight.
Cantrell Funeral Home in Detroit forced to close its doors tonight after state inspectors made some disturbing discoveries.
And the most disturbing of them all, the whereabouts of some of the bodies being kept there are unknown.
7 Action News reporter Brian Abel live at that funeral home on Mack in Detroit. Brian, those families must be at an absolute loss.
Yes, they are. We talked with some families that had funeral services scheduled for this weekend and other families who had loved ones stored here since the start of the new year. In an advanced state of decomposition and covered in what appeared to be mold. This is the state of two bodies investigators with Michigan's Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs say they found today inside Cantrell Funeral Home in Detroit.
I didn't have the money right now, but I had to get my sister's body out of Hopper Hospital morgue, and he told me don't worry about it.
Yolanda Brewer lost her sister to cancer just before the start of 2018, but told Raymond Cantrell she couldn't afford the full expenses. Her sister's body has been here the 4 months since, as Yolanda has kept making payments on the bill, fitting the timeline of one of the decomposed bodies. She says Cantrell told her her sister's remains were being refrigerated.
I would put up everything I have, my furniture and everything for sale. I haven't got no buyers yet, but I'm doing what I can to bury her.
Investigators started looking into Cantrell from a complaint back in November. Cantrell didn't let investigators in. They came back in December, finding unsanitary conditions, then again in February, then finding two bodies and caskets in the garage earlier this month.
At what point did you talk to your certified mortician about what she was doing right or wrong?
I haven't.
And don't you think you should have at this point?
That would have been wise.
And it may have prevented the shock, anger, and confusion over what happens now for families who entrusted Cantrell with their loved ones.
We don't know what's going to happen or what to do or anything. This is just a big shock to us.
I don't know what to do. I don't have the money to bury her. Plus, I don't even know where they're taking her.
Now, the state is also alleging Cantrell did not deposit more than $20,000 for prepaid services. Now, the law is services. That includes burial or cremation must be completed within 60 days. Cantrell now has that same time frame to transfer any prepaid contracts over to other funeral homes or give full refunds. Reporting in Detroit, Brian Abel, 7 Action News.
You have to feel for those family members tonight, Brian. Thank you so much. We're going to go to breaking
home on the city's east side. Police say the bodies of 11 infants were found hidden in a ceiling. It happened Friday at the former Cantrell Funeral Home on Mack Avenue. We're told the remains, including those of stillborns, were found in boxes and 2 small caskets. We're now hearing from the property's current owner. He told us he was the one who discovered the remains and called police. It's not clear how long they had been there, but he says he was told at least one of the bodies had been there since 2009.
To see those young bodies, it's a horrible experience.
Did you see the bodies?
I did.
So you were here when they made the discovery?
Yeah, I was the one who led them to the place upstairs.
What was that like for you, witnessing that?
Well, witnessing this was terrible. You know, seeing those young faces.
Investigators are now working to identify the remains. The Cantrell Funeral Home was shut down in April after investigators found bodies that weren't stored properly. We're told at least 2 bodies appeared to be covered in mold. The former funeral home is now being converted into a community center.